Okay, real good. Thank you. Hey, take care.
showing Rabbi Frazin now. Do you want him to? You want him to?
Doesn't it?
Well, it does if he's going to speak. Then you have to introduce him before he shows up. It depends on what you want. Booba. Very cute. Do I look okay? Am I close now? I have no makeup on. Booba, move that chair. Get that chair out of there.
My name is Cantor Israel Rosen. I am the cantor of Temple Solel of Hollywood, Florida. And welcome to the music time. And today also we're going to have our own Rabbi Frazin. He's going to tell you the story of Chanukah. But before I'm going to start, I like to show you this, my favorite holiday, the holiday of the lights. I'm going to show you some of the dreidel and sevivonim that I have here. Some selection. This is the children one, okay, and this is a beautiful sevivon. Opa, okay, good. And I like to show you. This is a beautiful sevivon. Oh, this is a beautiful sevivon. All kind of colors. And this one is very nice. This one is very beautiful. And
Let me show the big one.
this one is very heavy and very special. I cannot turn this dreidel even if I want. There's even no Nes Gadol Haya Po Shama because you cannot turn this even. Okay, and this one of my favorite sevivon. Wow, this one of my favorite. But the thing, this sevivon doesn't fall down. This no gimal. This you have to play different way. Okay, and this one is very bright, you cannot turn this one, but at least you can see the letter Nes Gadol Haya Sham, okay? A big miracle happened there. In Hebrew, the dreidel is written Nes Gadol Haya Po in Israel, okay? So in Israel, the shin is pei, po, here, okay? What else I got now? Okay, now I like to show the few Chanukiot that I have here. This very interesting Chanukiah, that this is a Chanukiah, and this the menorah, that if you see this has a 7 branches, that later Rabbi Frazin gonna explain you the difference between the Chanukiah and the 8 and the 7 branches is called the menorah, okay, if you count this. Okay. This one is a very, very beautiful. This is interesting that the shamash is on the bottom. If you see the bottom, the shamash is on the bottom. Usually the shamash is on top. So this is really the difference, to show you the long that the shamash is in a different place, okay, his assistant. Okay.
Show this one first. That one's playing the music.
This one, Chanukiah that we bought in Israel. Last time we was in Israel. This one of my favorite. Last time we went to Israel. This is a beautiful one.
That one's Philly.
And this, our friend Phyllis Berger made by hand. This is handmade by Phyllis Berger. This is a very beautiful. This our marriage gift. Okay. Oh, this is the Chanukah. This is a musical Chanukah. Okay, the G cleft, if you see. You see the G cleft right here? It's beautiful. Okay.
That's the one that was just playing music.
And this one is also musical Chanukah. If you turn the Sevivon, this is gonna play Ma'os 2, Rock of Ages.
Just played it.
Okay. Okay, I think this, and this is one of my favorite. This is Jerusalem. We bought this in Israel. If you see this Jerusalem Chanukah. Okay, this is all right.
That's enough.
Okay, good. And now Rabbi Frazin gonna show you some of the Chanukiot that he has, okay?
Before we do that, Cantor, hold on. Rabbi, go ahead and unmute. Unmute your line.
Okay.
Unmute 1 second, Rabbi. Unmute. Okay.
Okay.
Before we do that, Cantor and Rabbi, rumor has it that it's someone's birthday today. And is it possible
My
that the lovely Rabbi Rosen is celebrating a birthday today?
It is true.
My wife
On the camera,
today?
on behalf of myself, Rabbi, and your lovely husband, a Temple Solel family, and the whole Facebook world watching right now, a very happy birthday to you, Robin.
יום הולדת
Thank you.
שמח, יום הולדת שמח, יום הולדת,
Yom Haledet,
יום הולדת שמח.
Sameach.
מזל טוב.
Okay,
Thank you.
Rabbi,
Muzzle.
yours.
She doesn't look 16 years old. She looks like she's 15 or 14. Okay, right? Correct. Okay. I'm only showing one Chanukah. This is a Chanukah that is probably, it's between 150 to 200 years old. And this is the one, it goes way back in my family. And this is the one that I use for Chanukah in lighting the Chanukiah. And one thing I should tell you, when you put the candles in the Chanukiah, what you do is you go from right to left, okay? As you're looking at the Chanukiah, what you do is you put in that night's candle, you put the candles in, and you go this way, and then when you light the Chanukiah, you light that night's candle first. So day 1, day 2, day 3, and so if it's day 3, I will light this candle first, and then go to day 2 and day 1. That is, and you use the shamash to do that. So I want you to know that that is the way you deal with the lighting of the Chanukiah, okay? Cantor, you want me to talk about Chanukah?
After I'm gonna sing some a medley of a song. Okay.
Okay. First of all, you have to understand that the story of Chanukah, while it is very, very old, like if we figure it out between 2,200, 2,300 years old, in order to find it, you are not going to find it in the Chumash. You're not going to find it in the Tanakh. You're not going to find it in the pages of Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. And you're not going to find it in the entire Hebrew Bible. What you have to do is you have to look for the books of the Maccabees, book 1 and 2, and you will find them in perhaps a Bible in the Catholic Church. That's where you will find the whole story of the Maccabees, of Chanukah. At one time in our history, as in many times in Jewish history, we have assimilated, we have accepted many of the practices of the land in which we Jews live. So it is that more than 2,000 years ago, many Jewish people followed the practices of the Greco-Roman world and became what we would call Hellenistic Jews. The high priest at the time was someone by the name of Yochanan, and he was deeply disturbed at what is called assimilation. And he saw a danger to Judaism from the penetration of the Syrian Greek influence in the land of Israel. And while the Greeks were concerned more with an outward beauty as a people, our Judaism emphasized and continues to emphasize truth and morality as set forth in the Torah. And so Yochanan was opposed to the Jewish Hellenists, bringing Greek and Syrian customs to the land of Israel. And they were different kinds of customs than we practice. Eventually, in 174, now that's a long time ago, 174 BCE, a new king arose by the name of Antiochus IV, who began to reign over Syria. He has been described as a tyrant with a rash and impetuous nature, with contempt toward religion and the feelings of others. He was called Epiphanes, meaning God's beloved. A historian at the time gave him a different name. He called him Epimanes, which means madman, a title which was very befitting this cruel and harsh king. Now, Antiochus removed the righteous high priest Yochanan from the temple in Jerusalem, and in his place, he put Yochanan's brother Joshua, who loved to call himself by his Greek name, which was Jason. Now, the president of our temple is named Jason, and there are people on the board named Jason. These are not the same Jasons, believe me. We're talking over 2,000 years ago. Jason was a Hellenist who believed in all the Greek ways and used his new role to spread Greek customs. He was later replaced by a Hellenist named Menelaus, who promised to bring more money to the king. And a rumor went out that Antiochus had experienced an accident. And so many Jews, as a result of this, said, this is a time we could rebel. But the rumor regarding Antiochus, and some of you may call him Antiochus, the rumor regarding him was not true. And Antiochus ordered his army to destroy the Jewish people. He then forbade Jewish worship. The scrolls of the Torah, the Holy Torah, were captured and defiled. Sabbath rest and dietary laws, the laws of keeping kosher, and other customs were prohibited under penalty of death. And Antiochus and his men went from town to town and village to village to force the people to worship false gods, to worship pagan gods, to worship the idols of the Syrian Greeks. There was only one safe place, and that was in the hills of Judea, with their caves that were there for the Jewish people to hide in. And one day, the henchmen of Antiochus came to a village known as Modin, where Mattathias, an old priest, lived. And the Syrian officer built an altar in the marketplace of the village and demanded that Mattathias offer sacrifices to Greek gods. Mattatyahu replied, I, my sons, and my brothers are determined to remain loyal to the covenant which our God made with our ancestors. So in other words, he's saying, forget it. We're not going to practice idolatry. We're not going to practice the praying to false gods. We believe in the one God, the Lord God. And then Mattatyahu and his followers were able to chase the Syrians away. Then he and his sons and their friends left Modin, and they hid out in the hills of Judea. That's why Judea is so very important to the Jewish people and the people of Israel today. It has been ours for years, for thousands of years. Before his death, Mattatyahu called his sons together and urged them to fight in defense of God's Torah. Judah, the strong, became their leader. He was called Maccabee, a word composed from the initial letters of that beautiful prayer we find in our worship, the Michamocha. Michamocha ba'elim Adonai. You take the first letter of each word and you have the name Maccabee. And it translates, who is like you, O Lord? And the Maccabees ultimately were able to defeat the mighty armies of the Syrian Greeks. They liberated Jerusalem and they entered the great temple and they cleared it of the idols placed there by the Syrians. And the temple had a huge golden menorah, which was stolen by the Syrians. And so what did the Maccabees do? They had to get some metal that they could collect around the area, and they made it into another menorah, Chanukah, which we're going to discuss in a minute, which has already been mentioned by the Cantor. They made it into a new Chanukah of cheaper metal, and they wanted to light it, but how could they? They found only a small jar, what is called a cruse, a small cruse of pure oil bearing the seal of the high priest Yochanan. It was only enough oil for 1 day, but by a miracle of God, this was like the first, what you would call the first oil crisis. By a miracle of God, it continued to burn for 8 days, which is why we celebrate the holiday for 8 days, in thanking God for his protection of the Maccabees and the Jewish people and all people on this earth who believe in the one God of the universe. Now, what you have here is what is called a Chanukah. It is different from a menorah. A menorah only has 7 lights on it because of the Shabbat. It only has 7 lights. A Chanukah has 8 lights plus this light in the middle, which is called the Shamash, which lights all the candles. Here's the Shamash. I was off camera there. Here's the Shamash, and here are the lights for the 8 nights. Now, last Sunday, I told our kids in religious school a little story about a boy who was lost on a cold, wintry night. He was wandering, and he was wandering around, and he was exploring during the day, and all of a sudden it started to get dark, and he could not find his way home. And he did not know what to do. And he thought he was going to be lost forever. But suddenly, in the distance, he saw a small light, and he didn't know what that was. And he began to walk closer and closer. In furthering his journey, he began to walk closer and closer to that little light that he saw, which became larger and larger as he approached a home with a light in the window, a candle burning in the window. And with that, he knocked on the door and he told the people in that home that he was lost. And he said, and the only way he could find their house was from a distance. He saw that little flame on a candle. And the people in the home welcomed him into the home and said to him, ordinarily, we don't have a light in the window. We don't have a light in the window at all. But tonight happens to be the first night of Chanukah. And so this is another nes gadol, a great miracle, that this one light guided you to our house. We're going to feed you. It's very late. You want to sleep here, you can sleep here. We want you to sleep here. And in the morning, when the sunshine is out, you'll make your way home. And the young boy celebrated with that family. And that was the first time in his life that he ever did celebrate the first night of Chanukah. Remember, if it wasn't the first night of Chanukah, no one would have ever found that boy. So that becomes a miracle of Chanukah. And those miracles continue on and on throughout Jewish history. And they are our treasure as a Jewish people. Remember, the Jewish people are over 4,000 years old. I'm not 4,000 years old. Cantor is not 4,000 years old. But the fact of the matter is, the Jewish people have been around for 4,000 years, and we expect to be around forever. God bless all of you, and have a wonderful celebration of Chanukah. Enjoy it, and put that Chanukah in the window so that you can show you're Jewish, and so that you can welcome any stranger that comes along who might be lost in your neighborhood. Chag Sameach, a happy and wonderful holiday to all of you.
Thank you, Rabbi Frazin. Beautiful story. Very nice. And I'm going to sing a few short Chanukah songs that some of you, I'm sure, you know, like the dreidel. I'm going to start with the Hebrew dreidel, Sevivon, and then the English dreidel, said I am sure most of you know. Sevivon, Sevivon, סוף סוף סוף, חנוכה הוא חג טוב, חנוכה הוא חג טוב, סביבון, סוף סוף סוף, חג שמחה ולעם, נס גדול היה שם, נס גדול היה שם, חג שמחה. One more time. סביבון, סוף סוף סוף, חנוכה הוא חג טוב, חנוכה הוא חג טוב, סביבון, סוף סוף סוף, חג שמחה ולעם, נס גדול היה שם, נס גדול היה שם, חג שמחה ולעם. We're gonna go to the next one, to the dreidel song. I have a little dreidel, I made it out of clay. And when it's dry and ready, then dreidel I shall play. Oh, dreidel, 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 I made it out of clay. And when it's dry and ready, now dreidel I shall play. It has a lovely body with legs so short and thin, and when it is so tired, it raps and then I win. Oh, dreidel, 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 with legs so short and thin, and when it gets so tired, it raps and then I win. Let's go to the next one. I am a little latke, a nice potato pancake. I come to you each Chanukah for everyone to eat. Sometimes with applesauce, sometimes with jam, sometimes with sour cream, or just the way I am. I am a little latke, a nice potato pancake. I come to you each Chanukah for everyone to eat. Let's go to the last two lines. I am a latke, I am a latke, and I am waiting for Chanukah to come. I am a latke, I am a latke, and I am waiting for Chanukah to come. Sometime with applesauce, sometimes with jam, sometimes with sour cream, or just the way I am. From the beginning, I am a little latke, a nice potato pancake. I come to you each Chanukah for everyone to eat. Beautiful.
Cantor, you know why we eat latkes? You know why we eat pancakes?
I don't know. I don't know why.
Because the Maccabees knocked the Syrian Greeks flat as a pancake when they went.
Oh, this is a good one. I heard this before.
That's a good one. Okay.
Yeah, they made like a latke. They made the sufgania, the donut, like a latke. This is good. We're going to have the next one. This nerli, this little candy, little candle. This is one of my favorite. Nerli, nerli, nerli dakik. B'Chanukah neri adlik. B'Chanukah neri yair. B'Chanukah shirim nashir. One more time. Nerli, nerli, nerli dakik. B'Chanukah neri adlik. B'Chanukah neri yair. B'Chanukah shirim nashir. Let's go to the next one. Chanukah, the next song. Chanukah, Chanukah, חג יפה כל כך, אור חביב מסביב, גילי ילד רך. חנוכה, חנוכה, סביבון סוף סוף, סוף סוף סוף, סוף סוף סוף, מה נעים וטוב. כן, חנוכה, חנוכה, חג יפה כל כך, אור חביב מסביב, גילי ילד רך. חנוכה, חנוכה, סביבון סוף סוף, סוף סוף סוף, סוף סוף סוף, מה נעים וטוב. And the next one, written by Debbie Friedman, Light the Menorah. Light the menorah, it's Chanukah, it's Chanukah. Light the menorah, when Chanukah is here. Light the menorah, say the blessing every night. Light the menorah, when Chanukah is here. Add a new candle every night. Light them for all to see. special blessing. It's me song, but please sing along with me. One more time. Light the menorah, it's Chanukah, it's Chanukah. Light the menorah, when Chanukah is here. Light the menorah, say the blessing every night. Light the menorah, when Chanukah